Alright, so I got this 27-inch iMac. I think it's a 2008 or 9. I'm not entirely sure. I got it from someone who it stopped working. They didn't want it, so I picked it up. And this is what it's doing. Oh, I believe I plug it in first. Okay, let's try that again. Got these vertical bars. When we first took it over to the repair shop, these were gray bars, solid gray. But then after they took the screen off and told them that they couldn't find replacement parts for it, they gave it back to us like that. So did some digging online. We had a MacBook Pro that did the same thing. Turns out the GPU on that model, I think it was 2011 MacBook, there was a recall because the GPU was failing, and as soon as we got it repaired, this happened with this one. And so she's like, oh, whatever. So she already got another Mac, but she gave me that. So I'm thinking we can fix this. I did some digging online, and when I did a search for your iMac GPU, they were showing a bunch of it's like a PCI Express, but a mini PCI Express graphics card with this big heatsink on it. And I thought, man, you know, they're selling these things online for $200-300. That's not worth it. However, in my closet, in that back corner over there, is an Asus ROG, I forget what model, G75 or something, notebook that, because of a stupid issue with trying to flash the BIOS from an NTFS formatted flash drive, corrupted the BIOS. I tried to repair it. I actually bought a replacement BIOS, and the traces on the board, you have to desolder it. It was just too small. Anyway, so it's got that type of GPU. So I thought, wait a minute, if I can get the GPU out of this one, get the one from the gaming laptop in here, we might have a working iMac. So I'm going to start taking it apart and get down to the GPU. I'm going to put an SSD. It's got the factory hard drive in it. I think it's 1 terabyte. But I have a 500 gig SSD in this. It was just a spare SSD that I had that's in that notebook. I'm going to take that out, put it in here, and then hopefully we'll have a nice working laptop. Or iMac. I have to check. That's one of the things I wanted to see. I couldn't do it through the terminal. It was giving me all kinds of error. I booted into the recovery mode, opened up the terminal, and ran a few commands to see if I can figure out what kind of processor this has. Apparently, in the year that this one came out, you can either get them in the i5 or i7. I forget the clock speeds, but hopefully it's the i7. We'll see. So here's the board out of the iMac. Looks like it's some sort of ATI Radeon graphics. Let's see. It says M98 039. I'm sorry, 0939, diffused in Taiwan, made in Taiwan. November 75300. Then it looks like 216. 0732019, and this is the one out of the laptop. Yeah, hopefully we get that part, okay? But yeah, if you line it up, it looks like it matches. Same form factor. I'm going to take this off here and see what kind of chip we got. 1 second. Alright, let's take this off. See what we got. The trick is going to be, is the Mac going to recognize this? Because I think this is an NVIDIA card. And I don't know if the OS will be happy to see this. There we go. Okay. Oh wow, that's a much smaller GPU. Board looks pretty similar though. Let's see what kind this is. Ah, this is an ATI card as well. It says 1012, made in Taiwan, and then it looks like N1T 861.00. But as you can see, ooh, yeah, we got a little bit of overhang here. I'm wondering if that's gonna fit. Let's find out. Well, we got a bit of a problem. So if we look at this heat sink, the bolt pattern is specific to this size graphics card. They don't line up. Plus, this one, I could probably make it work. I just have to punch these out. It doesn't have the little threaded inserts. You can see them here. And this whole section of the board here interferes with, oh, it's off camera. There. This whole section of the board here interferes with a plastic bracket inside the Mac, which is not a big deal. We can trim that. But now I'm wondering if it might be easier to just see if I can find just this part on eBay. What is that saying? Serial number, product label? So I'm going to do a quick search and see if I can find this online. And maybe I might be able to score something on the cheap. I'll take a look. So I decided I'm going to take a different approach here. I know this card is good, but it's going to take some doing to get it to fit into the iMac. And I can't really find much about this board online, other than it's an ATI M98. 2009 is when it came out. So I was just curious, before I go and start chopping things up, what if I take this, give it a nice cleaning, get some new thermal pads here, and one of the things I noticed here, let's see if we can see it. Look at that. That can't be good. This machine has all kinds of black dust on it. I mean, that's really the only part that I'm seeing that it's pretty gross. And we got some there too. My thought is maybe it's just dirty. Maybe after giving it a good cleaning, maybe that's all it needs. I thought I was going to take it out and use the air compressor and use the, the high pressure air to clean it out. I don't know where my nozzles are. The garage and all my tools are kind of still scattered around. I haven't really done anything to clean this place up. But I figured, well, we can use the shop vac on reverse and give it a nice blast of some not so highly compressed air. I got the soldering iron heating up, and I figured while I was here, I was going to use a paintbrush to get into these fans. You can kind of see there, yeah, it's kind of gross. I'm going to see if I can loosen some of that dirt up with this, or that dust, and we'll get the vacuum out and we'll blow it out. And of course it wouldn't hurt to come through and just make sure that everything's off. try touching it just to see. Thankfully they're on the end, so oh yeah, that'll work. There's just enough solder on the end of this that it's touching. Now this one's gonna be tricky. There's a couple of components that are close I don't want to touch. I think I want to put just a little more down. Let's put just a little bit on there. There you go. There we go. Let's see. Let's get a closer look. Looks like that. Oh, that looks like that might work. Sorry for the shaky camera. The other one looks like that might work too. Those were the only ones that I saw that were moving. So we'll try putting. Oh, we'll try putting the. Well, we got to clean up the graphics card first. Let's see how she does when we put her back. Just gonna go this way. Trying to remember. That was probably was that here before? Oh, that would go over. That would make sense. We'll just shove that off to the side. The tricky part's going to be getting this this cable back underneath because it connects really right here. So I might have to get a set of tweezers or something. We'll see. Might be able to, yeah, we might be able to do that. All right. Make sure those contacts look good. Yeah, they're pretty clean. Okay, that fit. And let's see if we can finagle this guy. Oh, wrong way. Oh, that's the right way. Clips facing up. Ooh, yeah, that's a thin wire. Kind of dropped go. All right, let's get some of these screws in here. Let's see which one that was. I think it's any one of these will do. They all seem to be the same size. Okay, I'm not going to do the SSD thing just yet. Because I want to make sure that it boots, and then if it does, then we'll talk about getting a bracket. I saw one actually that it looks like it's specifically for iMacs, because normally when you get a 3.5, the SSD to a normal size hard drive adapter, the SSD will sit right in the middle, so that will be offset, so this will come down. But I saw one that actually has a board that brings the SATA and power over to this side. So, and it wasn't, I think it was like $9. So, you know, if that'll help this, because if it's in the middle, these cables are going to come down. This one doesn't look too bad because I have slack. On my other iMac, the cables came up this way, and they were just long enough to reach the SATA connector on the hard drive. And when I had the SSD in, they didn't quite reach. So I didn't know that they made any special adapters, so I just got extensions and routed the power and the data. So let's see now about putting that. Well, first we got to clean it right where it was. Nope. Still got the lines. Well, now we know it's definitely the graphics card. That sucks. Well, we're gonna have to do some chopping to get that other one to come up. Have to fit, so. Alright, I guess we'll stop here for now. Okay, so we're finally gonna put this thing in the oven. I gotta clean up all of this stuff. And I'll see if I can take this foam off without tearing it up, but if we do, I don't think it's critical. But anyway, gotta research again to see what the temperature was, but we'll go ahead and clean this up. Alright, so we got it as clean as I can get it. I didn't have any Q-tips available. I'm sorry, cotton balls, so I had to use Q-tips. And so I try to get as much of it out of the little nooks and crannies as possible. So I think she's ready. Preheating the oven now to 290 degrees Fahrenheit. I gotta double check if that's the right temperature before I put it in. But yeah, I wanted to make sure I got all of it out because my concern was once these start to reflow, if there was any of that thermal paste, then it might, I don't know, it might mess with it. Another thing I have to deal with before I can even put it back together is I need gap filler, a thermal, like a pad, to go over these components, because I was hoping I could salvage it, but you can see that it's really all just degraded. So, but at least we can get this part going. So we'll do that. All right, so here we have the final product. I put these little aluminum standoffs so it's not touching the tray, and I try to make it so none of the surface mounts, I gotta fix that one. None of the surface mounted items were in contact with the foil, so they're kind of tapered. It's kind of hard to see from here, but kind of tapered up, And this one just doesn't have anything on that corner, but I gotta fix that one too. But that should keep it from touching anything, so once it starts to melt, it shouldn't put any force on any of the surface mounted items, and push it to the side, and we'll stick it in the oven. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and get started and put this thing back together. One thing I forgot to do was clean this guy up. So I'm gonna have to do that first. This kind of silicone, whatever kind of gap filler thermal paste is really just kind of crumbling apart, but I ordered this and I'm wondering if now we're gonna have enough for all the components. It looked a lot bigger. If not, if I can salvage some of this, I'll use that on the top, but at least use that, like that. I should have got the bigger one. It was only a few dollars more. I wasn't anticipating using so much, but let's clean it up. Sorry for the light in here. The office light is not very bright. I forgot to mention I had to put the heatsink back on. I mean, you kind of need that, right? So, like I said, everything looks good. We got enough thermal paste, hopefully, that'll help keep that cool. I'm trying to remember now. There were 3 screws, and then screws. 3 of the same. 1, yep. Alright. Let's put this on here. Oh, the other thing too is the little lead for the sensor, the temperature sensor. Gotta make sure we get that back in there. And this Wi-Fi cable. Moment of truth. That actually worked. What? That's amazing. I am amazed. Well, let's make sure that we can get logged in. And of course, any good repair would require a burn-in, but oh wow. Alright, so she booted in recovery mode. You can see the screen looks just fine. You can kind of make out those lighter lines there, but I don't know. I'm thinking that might not be such a huge issue. But let's try checking the disk. Oh, that's the disk image. Well, this is what I didn't want to see, but it is what it is. Checking of the drive has failed. But at least we know the screen's working. I'm going to see if there's a way to clean that up. I don't really want to, but I wouldn't mind it. I mean, I'm wondering if you can crack the frame open and see about that. See if you can clean that up. But at least we got this far, so definitely progress. So I don't remember if this is the one off the iMac before I put the SSD on there, but it does have Mac OS. This won't boot with that hard drive. I'm going to try swapping this out and see if it'll wake up. I got the 320 gig drive off of the old iMac. I haven't finished building it all down, but I wanted to take note of this before I forgot. The new drive has that connector that goes into here, where the old drive does not have that. It has the hole for it, but no pins. I don't know if they line up with these, but I don't want any power to go into this, so I'm going to leave that alone. When we did this on my dad's iMac, he without that connected, the fans ran at 100%, which is fine because this is just a test to see if we can boot it up. All right, I don't even know if it's going to boot with that, but we'll see. Whoa. It works. Yes. All right, let's see what kind of specs we have. Oh man, I haven't had this thing set up, booted up like this in a long time. Yeah, with those, I mean, it's kind of hard to see on the camera, but you could barely tell that those lines are there once the screen's full of color. So this is running very slow. All right, so finally we figure out what this is. Late 2009 27-inch iMac, and it's an i7 2.8. Now we have enough room for 2 more slots, so we might be upgrading that here soon. Yeah, so I do have two 2 gigs I can throw in here to make it a little bit better, but we're gonna definitely have to change this hard drive out. Obviously it was just the old drive, so, but yeah, I'm really happy with that. I'm wondering if, I would assume, I wonder how many cores. Where do I want to look? Yeah, there we go. Total number of 4. Okay. Great. Alright, so this is good news. So, Awesome. So now we'll just slap an SSD in here and a little more memory, and now we'll have something a little bit better than the older iMac by 1 year and quite a few bumps in specs.